Alright, welcome to the third Obsidian podcast with Wes, and we got Super Burrito.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't think I've ever had it before this.
I actually have not tried it yet, but I got beans and rice.
I'm a taco salsa guy typically, but I would add this to the rotation.
How's everyone's week?
It was good.
Yeah?
Very, very busy.
We all made it through finals.
For the most part.
For the most part. How was your stats test end up? How'd that go?
It went fine. I was one multiple choice question away from getting both an A on the MCQ and FRQs.
Ridiculous.
But it's how it goes.
I got a 75 on the MCQs and then like a 42.5 on the FRQs. Yeah. I don't know what his grading system is.
I don't either. We got new seats today. I don't know if you had stats today, but
no.
If you do have stats, take the bet. Take the bet.
Okay. Well, next time we're on, we'll talk about it and we'll explain that.
But like everyone at my table got like a 50%.
Really?
So like I can't wait for the team test. Like
yeah, you're gonna be carrying.
Yeah.
That sucks.
I think I did good on all my finals except I got a 17 on my music theory final.
Out of 100?
35.
That's not bad. I've done worse. I don't think that's that bad.
It was alright. I still got a B in the class.
Yeah, so whatever.
It's kind of not the best grade.
No. I mean, that's how I feel about stats.
On, we need to lower your mic a little bit. It's also in front of your face.
How are those beans?
It's really good beans and rice, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It looks like a good portion, you know?
It is.
Like a...
The taco salsa beans and rice does not hit that hard. It's not that good.
I mean, whenever I go to Taco Salsa, I only get breakfast burritos, nothing else.
Their bean and cheese burritos are good. But it's also like the only like late night place on the west side.
Yeah.
And like I feel like the only time I go there is when it's like there's no other options.
I will go there like when I'm off of work for break just because it's close and it's not super expensive and it's like a drive-through. And whenever I'm on break, I go sit out in my car and I don't want to leave. That's just like where I hang out. Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like I never order from Taco Salsa. I'm there at like 2 or 3 in the morning a lot because that's just the only place it's open, but I never order.
What are you doing there?
What are you?
My friends are ordering, but I'm not ordering. I'm not just hanging out at Taco Salsa.
That's what
alone.
it sounded
I thought
like.
you were just like
I just go hang out.
The parking lot.
I hang out there. Pretty fun time.
You know, that's what it sounded like. Wes, how's your story going?
It's going, and it's going good.
Yeah.
Talked to the vice principal of Pioneer High School today.
Yeah.
That was good. He was a nice guy. I didn't know that the program has been going on for 10 years.
Tell us a little bit about what your story's actually about and what Pioneer High School is first.
So it's a new, well, not a new program, but it's a new school, alternative school that opened up in Prineville. Mm-hmm. Now it has its own official building, only a matter of weeks ago. So I'm just writing like what this means, why people should care, and I know people like to think that, you know, like Prineville, a different school district, like we don't really care, it's their own thing, but it's actually pretty cool what they're doing.
Yeah. So is their new school year will be 2023 next year, or is it going to take a little bit to kick it off?
From my understanding, kids are in the building.
Oh, okay.
Like before they were just in mobiles, and before that they were at like the elementary school or something. Mm-hmm. And it was like a smaller program, and plans to open up a permanent school had been in the works for a couple years, but the Kirk County School Districts really realized the importance of the program and decided that they needed their own space.
So, like, could you explain what this new school does? Like, what kind of program they have, and how is it different from other schools?
So, their biggest focus is getting a diploma in the students' hands. And, like, a lot of people, like, when they hear alternative school, and, like, myself included, I think, like, last chance, you know, you've been expelled or something's up. Although, I guess that's not really the case here, mm-hmm. that it's just working with the student, that there's some students that maybe had family emergencies or medical emergencies that Nothing at all behavior related, but they did fall behind in school and they do need catching up. Or it could be someone who the 800 kids who go to Crook County High School is too overwhelming, so they'd rather be with 80 kids in the entirety of Pioneer High School. And I guess people used to try and get out of the program. Like as soon as they catch back up, they'd want to transfer back over to Crook County because the program was started in 2005. But the principal said that about 10 years ago, they kind of shifted away from that like in-school suspension punishment feel. And now more kids are embracing that, you know, if they walk away with a Pioneer High School diploma, it's just as good as a Crook County diploma. It meets the same standards that you need to graduate in Oregon. And if that's not possible or that's not the case, then they offer like GED prep and GED testing. And that's another avenue kids can take.
So are the classes like different, other than class size, obviously, because it's such a smaller school? Are they different in any way? Like, do they have different curriculum?
I mean, to my understanding, it still checks the boxes. Like, you know, you need certain math classes and certain English classes. It just might be catered a little bit more to help the students. It might be at a slower pace. But in the end, they get what's required of them done. It also sounds like they do have electives like arts and like career technical education programs that they used to do at the other high school. But now that they're in their own space, they're kind of like self-sufficient.
Yeah, when I was hearing about this, I immediately thought of like Marshall, because I think for the Ben Lapine School District, that is or what I think is our last chance option. I don't know a ton about Marshall.
I think so too.
That's just what I've heard from like kids, and people are like, oh yeah, they're at Marshall now. They were expelled from here. But I also thought of like how beneficial it might be to have a school like that in our district specifically, just because I feel like a lot of students don't get that option, especially if you are behind in school at Summit or Bend High or Mountain View. As far as I know, there's not really like a place you can go to catch back up. It's like you have to catch back up while the work is still piling up on you, which is a really hard place to be in.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that that's why I really enjoyed speaking with the principal over there. And it was nice to hear him using, I guess, language that I wouldn't normally use, that like I found myself saying like, you know, opposed to a normal high school, but normal is like really subjective. And like I guess there's kind of a stigma around that, and instead it's like conventional high school, like a conventional high school with lots of kids and like a program that we're used to. But I mean, it's all like we're all trying to graduate, we're all trying to hit the same like finish line. It's just at different paces and what works better, because you know, somebody might have been at a disadvantage and gotten a slow start, and they're just trying to catch them back up in whatever way works for them, whether they're college bound, trade school, or if they just want their GED, so they can go on and at least have that for them. Then that's really what the school wants to do. Yeah,
it just seems like a really beneficial thing to have, because I feel like now you can get I forget what it's called, you get like extra time on tests and like stuff like that.
Time and a half, or like,
well, it's just like if you have test anxiety or just anxiety in general, you can get extra time on tests, or like specifically through AP or SAT and ACT. I think obviously that's happening at a more national level. I think it makes sense to also put it into local level with specific schools if people need that, you know?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I understand, like, some teachers will give their students extra time, and I think that's another thing, too. Like, you get an extra day or two to turn in an assignment, but it seems like sometimes, like, even though that is something, and that's great, it might not always be enough.
Yeah, and I definitely agree, and I also think that there's a difference between getting something done and understanding something. Like, I'm sure we can all relate to, like, an assignment at the last minute that maybe you're looking at the answer key, or maybe you're just trying to get it done as quick as possible instead of, like, really understanding something when, like, that's the teacher's goal for you. And I think that when kids can just get stuck in the cycle of, like, catch up, they can't really, like, let the material sit with them, and they can't really comprehend it, and it just kind of further puts them in a hole. So I think it's really good that they really focus their energy on what works best.
Yeah, and I feel like individualized support helps that a ton, because those kids that fall behind, in traditional schools, they a lot of times they don't even get to talk to the teacher in some classes that are bigger. And with like small class sizes of 8 to 10 people, you have so many opportunities to have one-on-one with the teacher and learn about like whatever you're falling behind in and actually retain the information.
Yeah, and that's like, I think that's an option at a lot of public schools, like office hours, office hours, but it's also more helpful if you have that person there all the time. I've heard, I know a lot of people that go to Seven Peaks, and I hear good things and bad things, you know, like for some people it's perfect. Like they get small classes, they get to know their teachers more, but others it's like, oh, it's too small. Like I've known these people for 10 years and I need like to get out and try something new. But I think that like the more time passes, the less traditional school is getting, and I think that's a good thing personally.
I think it is too. Yeah, and I think that it also works for students that like he put a big emphasis on. There's just some kids who don't feel comfortable in large environments, and I think that that's good. That sometimes it can be hard to ask for help. That like even if there's office hours or like your teacher says, does anybody have any questions? Sometimes it can just be hard to put yourself forward and ask for that. And instead it's, I think really putting an emphasis on more one-on-one learning really helps.
Yeah. I mean, as far as I know, I don't think there's anything else in this area that exists like that. Not that I know of, other than like possibly private schools, but that's not attainable for everyone.
Exactly. And I don't really know about that either, but I do think it's cool that it's not a private school, so it's more attainable. And it also doesn't have that stigma as like, oh, they're bad kids, they got expelled.
Yeah.
Or they don't want to be there. That, I mean, obviously there is an aspect of that, but at the same time, it's like when I was talking to the principal, he said that they really like shed that reputation of like a while ago it was, oh, you're a pioneer kid, that like you must have done something bad. And now people are understanding that it's just a different avenue you can take. And I think that that's cool, like kind of finding an in-between between like, you know, private but not accessible or like stigma. And it's kind of the best of both worlds.
Because I do think that right now, at least, Marshall is that school. And maybe it's not. And once again, it is that stigma.
Yeah.
But I feel like it would be really cool to hear about a transition there into something similar to Pioneer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I also like the things that we do, or like we have in Ben's. Like obviously, we're a bigger district, probably with more funding, and we have more schools. And maybe Milan can speak to this, but I like that we have that Realms High School, and we have like Ben Tech Academy. That like
Realms has a lot of that academic support. There are a lot of kids that go to Realms that that are in a situation where they have some sort of learning disability, or their mindset is like, I don't want to do this, or I don't like big school environments or something. And there's a whole like setup to help them at Realms.
Yeah, and I do think like we have an area like that at Summit as well. But it's, once again, like even if you have that place at school where you can go and like have some quiet time and do your work away from people, you're still surrounded. But like our school is like 1,000 or so.
I think we're more like
I think it's
1,600.
Oh,
Jeez, you guys are...
how many does Ben tie?
I think we're down... I think we might have gotten under 1,000 because we lost a ton of students to Caldera.
I guess that makes sense.
We were super big, and then we lost a ton to Caldera.
I mean, we lost enough to go down from 6A to 5A, but I know that...
wasn't that the whole district?
I guess.
Yeah, the whole district did go to 5A.
I was no. You're good. I was just like, wait, because it would be kind of interesting if just a school was a certain thing. No, I don't know. I think it's cool. We have a lot of different, like a lot of variety within, you know, Ben Lapine schools. At work, I was talking to someone who her daughter's about to go to middle school, and I didn't know this existed, but she like had to enter her into a lottery in order to get into Rome's. I didn't know that was a thing. Like,
I think it kind of is, yeah. I don't really remember it, but apparently... Yeah.
Maybe like if you're at a district or something.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was that or if it was just because it's a different type of school. But I don't, like, I don't know. It just is interesting how our district works, really.
They do a lot of lottery things. I had to do a lottery thing to get into dual immersion when I was in kindergarten. They do like a lot of weird lottery things like that to get into programs.
Is it just because it's limited resources and
it's just limited spaces and so many people want to be in it? Yeah.
I just didn't like. I don't think that's a thing for Summit, right? Like,
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think there's a lottery. I know that, like, in elementary schools there were, because, like, we had those specialized elementary schools, like the magnet schools.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, I mean, looking back, that's interesting. But that, as far as, like, Summit goes, I think it's if you're out of the area, if you can provide your own transportation,
You're good.
and you have, like, a reason for going there that isn't just friends, and they have room for you, they, like, kind of have to take you.
Yeah. I just remember that. So there was this guy. He's a freshman at Caldera, and I play water polo with him. He was on the Summit water polo team with the boys for a while, and then for some reason they switched him to Bend High because of districting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they took him off of a team to put him on Bend High, and I think it's just because, like, parents made a fuss about something. They're like, oh, why does he get to go to Summit when he lives near Bend High? And it's not even like he's just on the team, you know?
You'd think that you'd be grandfathered in. Like, you already have those relationships with students and teachers, and, like, that would suck.
That's the one thing about schools. I have always lived close to any school I've been to, so I've never had to deal with, like, you know, taking a bus across town or having to be like, oh, this is the school I want to go to, but I can't. I just don't know what that's like at all, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I kind of get that to an extent. Like, I went to Pacific Crest, but Cascade is quite literally in my backyard.
Yeah.
Like, the fence touches where my backyard is. And honestly, my reasons for going there were, like, I like the languages and the technology, but, like, the biggest thing in hindsight was probably friends. But, like, I don't remember, like, anything like a lottery. It was just, like, you fill out a form, get it in by the deadline. Like, yes, I acknowledge there's not a bus. I want to go here for academic reasons, and you're in.
I feel like it's just a lot different with big public schools because there's not as much limitations on how many people they can take in. So I feel like it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
What's interesting to me is specifically when you're trying to go to a different school and the reason is friends. I don't understand why they don't like that. I feel like as a growing person, when you're little, like, your friends are super important, and they still are to me, you know? But I think why would you wanting to be with your friends be a reason you can't go? I mean, I understand probably, like, oh, everyone would do that then, right? But I still think it's, like, super important to grow up around your friends and see them every day, regardless of where you live in town.
Yeah. I think so too. And I wonder, like, how that plays out once you get to high school. Like, Pacific Crest, I feel like close to 100% went to Summit. But, like, Cascade, I'd say it was maybe like a 60-40 split of at least people I knew that either Bend High or Summit, or even Caldera now. And, like, I wonder, like, how many people were influenced that, like, I have a friend that he missed the boundary line by, like, 40 feet. And, like, he didn't have a preference, but the only thing was friends. Yeah. And, like, he didn't say that's what it was, but, like, that's why he goes to Summit. And I wonder, like, how much that happens.
I think a lot of people go to Bend High for the IB program. I think they think it's better, and it might be. I don't know. But as far as I understand, it's, like, it's only useful if you're trying to go to an international school, right? Like, it's just the same as AP with different...
Yeah, it's a little cooler.
Why is that?
Just wanted to say it was cool. I think we have AP classes too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in multiple AP classes.
So are you trying? Because I know people go for the IB diploma. Are you getting the IB diploma?
No.
So are you getting an AP diploma or an honors?
I just have AP classes and stuff.
Okay.
I should be getting an honors diploma, but it's I don't know.
I think my little brother is going for the IB diploma because he was at Seven Peaks and they did an IB thing. And he's going, I don't know anything about it. But he's like, I'm going to go to Bend High because they got some stuff there.
Yeah. I just have never understood why people are like, oh, IB program is better than the AP program. Especially if you're planning on staying in the U.S.
Yeah. I, up until less than a month before the school year was started, I was actually enrolled at Bend High before sophomore year because I was going to go for the IB program and do like the pre-IB classes. And honestly, it was new staff that kept me. I was like, I like Mr. Williams. I'll give this another go. And then I almost left again because, but same.
Decided you didn't like him as much.
Oh no, still love him. But I mean, I guess I'm glad I stayed. But I guess I really don't see the difference. Like, unless you're gonna go for like the full diploma, which I think is cool. You have like your theory of knowledge and like you learn how to learn things, and you have like your thesis and all that. Like I get that it like prepares you for college, but as far as like the actual credits go, I don't know how different that is from AP.
So what's different? So what is the theory of knowledge? What did you just say?
Like it's I went to like and like I talked to like the counselor and stuff there.
Yeah.
It's well, I have friends that are. It's like just it's called TOK. That's what everyone calls it. You have it. We have open 7th every third day. I don't know if you guys have that too.
Yeah.
We have open 7th every third day. And instead of having to open, they should have to go to TOK, from what I know. And I don't know, I've heard a lot of negative things about it, about how it's kind of a pointless class.
Well, is it like you're learning stuff, or is it just like study hall?
I think from what I heard, I think they make you do some projects. I don't know that much about it, though.
For the diploma.
Yeah, it is.
That's what I thought. That like there's like you have to do like an overarching project, which that might be what that is. That was pretty much like a college thesis, and like you get like adopted by a staff member in the building who like help you with that project. But from what I've heard, it's such like a rigorous thing that like it becomes your life. Like if you go for the full diploma.
Yeah, I have friends that are in it, and it seems super rigorous. And I have a lot of friends that are in it to like go to France and stuff like that, just schools in different countries. Mm-hmm. But it seems so rigorous and so like it seems pointless to some extent for some students. Like I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of classes they don't need to be taking. I feel like that's the same with regular diploma too. I have a lot of complaints about the public school system, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like if you're not going to like try and go to an international school, it's a little pointless.
Well, for me, it's like, how are you going to commit to that diploma as like, what, a 16-year-old and know that your plan is to leave the country?
Yeah.
That seems crazy to me, just because I don't know how you're supposed to know that so early, especially when you're still a kid.
And yeah, I only know a few people who have done it, and I only know one person who's in it right now, and I know she regrets it. And like, and I've also heard that like a lot of the times, and I mean same thing with AP classes, but a lot of the times the credits don't transfer over. And like imagine like, you know, like the last 2 years of high school, and like the person I know who's in it right now, like she like dropped every club and like everything and like sports she used to play for getting the diploma, because it's like such a big thing and takes up so much time. And like I just couldn't imagine like, woohoo, you're into college, it's time to get everything figured out, and it's like, oh, you gave that up for nothing. Like, yeah, you're in, and sure, you probably learned some good study skills and work ethic, but like your credits aren't transferring.
And that's the thing, like, because now that I'm looking into colleges and stuff, the harder the school is to get into, the fewer credits they take. So it's like, which I don't understand, maybe because advanced classes or something, like it doesn't carry over, but I feel like I don't understand why, specifically AP, I don't know about IB, why they don't just have like, this is equal to this amount of credits at every school.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's kind of a scam. Like you're paying $70 per test, and then your dream school doesn't let you take those credits over. So it's like, why did I take that test anyway?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, and yeah, it can be so confusing, especially with those like kind of in between classes. Like if you're doing capstone, like I know seminar and research, it's like the biggest disclaimer. Colleges may or may not take this. They might take it as an elective credit. They might take it as an English credit.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, I'm taking seminar and research for the capstone diploma, but like I would definitely be pretty ticked off if like a college just didn't accept it, because like it's a big investment both financially and time-wise.
And I mean, for me, it's like I've taken 5 AP tests and classes. This year, I'm taking 3 more, but I'm only taking one of the tests just because I've learned like these credits aren't going to transfer over. But the one test I did good on, Like, I passed most of them. The one test I did pretty good on does not get me credit anywhere. AP Lang, there's no credit for AP Lang at any of the schools. Like, if I look on the College Board site and I put in a school I'm interested in, AP Lang doesn't even show up on the list of options.
I didn't know that.
No, I mean, maybe I'm missing it, but I was really looking because I was like, I will actually get credit from this one test I took, and I don't see anything.
The only like AP tests I've taken are Spanish AP tests, and they transferred like to most colleges for me.
Yeah. What did you get on the AP Spanish test for Lang?
4.
I got 3.
God, you are terrible at Spanish.
I mean, I haven't been taking it since preschool, so maybe.
Yeah, it was kindergarten, not preschool.
My bad.
Yeah, there was for ours you have to get a 4 to get the seal of biliteracy.
Me too.
And and at first they told us it was a 3.
Yeah.
So and they waited months to tell everyone that you actually had to get a 4.
Yeah.
So I have friends who like thought they got it,
And then
but
they didn't
realize they didn't. And
Yeah.
I felt really bad. But there's ways to make it up with some like. There's some other tests you could take.
Yeah, and for me, I was interested in getting the seal of biliteracy. Like, it would have been cool, but at the same time, conjugation is not my thing. So bad at conjugation. So it was more about just like using different tenses while I was writing that email back to someone.
Yeah.
Or like, so when did you take it? What year?
Last year.
Okay. Did you have the Tres Leches audio? Do you remember that? Because I
I
feel like
don't
we all
know.
had the same test.
I feel like I blanked out a lot of that test. I just hyper focused for like hours to finish the test, then forgot about it. All I remember is I had to write an email.
Yeah.
I was super nervous
Una
during the email
correo
section.
electrónico.
Correo, yeah. I like wrote my entire email, then I crossed it out and wrote it again.
Yeah.
I think I might have written it 3 times.
I
in
did
total.
that during my AP Lang test. I like moved an entire paragraph to the other side of it. Because you're taking the AP test probably for Lang, right?
Yeah, I am. And like we just had our Lang final, which is like supposed to be like the argument.
Yeah.
But like I got 100% on that, but like I don't understand like why there was such an emphasis on it, because it wasn't anything like how the actual test is going to be. She gave us the prompt a week ahead.
Yeah, and
yeah.
teachers like that. But I think it makes so much sense to me that you would be really good at argument essays. I feel like you're a professional arguer most of the time.
Yeah, I did kind of pull off the debate, bro. I was like, it was just about like, does society provide equal opportunities? And I was like, well, Rawls' veil of ignorance and the difference principle and the liberty principle and redlining and all this stuff.
The fact that you know all that immediately gives you an advantage when it comes to testing, you know?
Yeah, I don't know if I know what most of that is.
Yeah, but it's like, it's hard because it's hard to prepare for like tests like that. Like you can learn how to argue like as much as you need.
Yeah.
But when it actually comes time to like do the test, it kind of gives an unfair advantage to some people. But like that stuff I've known through like my own like school and
your interests,
right? Yeah, my own interests. But like I can't imagine if it was something that like I don't pay attention to. Just pulling a blanket kind of seems like there's definitely an aspect of luck there.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably got lucky when I took that test. It was like it was such a long test, and it was like 3 or 4 essays in a row.
Jesus.
And
wait, is this a Spanish one or English one?
no,
I'm
this is
confused.
AP Lang, just English Lang.
Oh.
Yeah. So, because he doesn't take Spanish.
I was gonna say I didn't know you really good at Spanish was.
No.
Just before
We should
this,
do a
he said.
Spanish podcast.
Just before that, he said he wasn't.
Oh.
Yeah, before you
God,
came
I
in
was
here.
Oh, before I came in
No,
here.
I feel like he was there.
You were? Because I was talking about like how I went to like that Mexican restaurant.
Yes, he
and-
was there.
Yeah, you were here.
Oh, yeah, you were talking about that. Yeah, you were.
Yeah. I don't know. Like the other thing I kind of hate, like aside from everything about the AP tests, is that like, as much as I'd like to like kind of do what you're doing with like, you know, I'm taking 3 AP classes, but I'm only taking 1 test. So many of my teachers put a lot of pressure on it. Like Pfister's like, I will drop you from this class if you don't take the test.
And that's a crazy thing for her to say. Like, obviously, it should be up to the student, But I understand, like, this is the first year I've done it, you know, like my sophomore and junior year, I was like, no, I'm taking all the tests. And I mean, I get it. I think it's a good thing to do. Like, you're taking the class, why not take the test as well?
Yeah.
But sometimes you're not prepared. Like, for me and my sophomore year, I took AP World History. I got a 2. I was not prepared for that test. And I will tell you, like, I got an A in the class. So I'm like, where's that translation? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense.
And what's your take on, like, the teachers who do, like, the grade bump policy? That, like, if you get a 4 or a 5, then I'll give you an A in the class.
I mean, I think I understand it just because, you know, if you take the test, the entire reason you're taking the class is for the test in most of their eyes. Like, their entire curriculum is based off of this one test and how you do. And so I think I understand it. But I also think at the end of the day, it's like, if you do all the work, if you don't do any of the work in class, I don't think you're going to pass the test. But if you do all the work in class and don't pass because you're, like, anxious and you don't know what to do and you forget things when you're testing, I think that's more common in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, like, the same thing as, like, the SAT when it comes down to, like, measuring academic ability. Like, it's you could have someone who's, like, wicked smart, but, like, test anxiety creeps in, and, like, that puts them at a disadvantage right away. And, like, there's so much, like, the 20 minutes of instructions they go through, and, like, copy your barcode, check your barcode, and it just builds and builds.
I took the ACT and the SAT last year, and I will tell you that I did not use my scores for anything, and I still am doing fine. You know, I don't think at this point, now that schools are test optional, I honestly encourage people to not take tests because for me, it didn't do anything. I didn't apply to, like, Harvard or anything, but at the end of the day, I got into a school that I like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I decided not to take the ACT or SAT, but I took the PSAT on, like, 2 hours of sleep and woke up 15 minutes before the test because I didn't know it was that day until my mom told me. It was during the summer, and it was kind of terrible.
The PSAT, I did way better on the PSAT than the SAT.
Yeah, I did fine on the PSAT. I kind of want to take the SAT to see what I would get.
A middle school once required me to take the PSAT to like go. I didn't even end up going there. I had to, like, do a whole process of studying for it and doing it for, like, this middle school, and I didn't even end up going there.
That's kind of what middle school was it?
It was it was Notre Dame Middle School in Belmont, California.
Oh, I actually feel like my best friend went to that school.
Really?
I'm not even kidding.
The little school with, like, the weird playground thing on the wood
She
chips?
went to Notre Dame. I think she went to the high school.
Oh, okay.
But I think they're similar.
Yeah.
She went
they're,
there.
like, right next to
Exactly.
I would go
That's
there
so weird.
just to tell people I went to Notre Dame. Like, yeah, I went to Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, everyone's like, oh my God, Notre Dame. But it's, like, in Illinois, in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's the appeal? You know, it seems like a really good school, and obviously academics and, like, their football team, but location doesn't seem like it.
Yeah. Did you guys know that we have it's, like, I think one of the only ones in the nation, but in Oregon we have, like, a K through 12 school that's owned by the Church of Scientology.
And that's insane.
It's crazy, and, like, admission is, like, $75,000 a year.
Wait, where is
It's
it?
like a boarding school. It's I want to say, like, north, like, in, like, the woods somewhere. It's called Oregon Delphinian Academy, and it looks like a mental hospital was, like, abandoned and then, like, adopted by Hogwarts or something.
For a story, can we have you go there next year? And
Church of Scientology doesn't
see what
like me.
happens.
I'll go.
We
Why
get
doesn't
held
the
back,
Church of
Bailey?
Scientology like you?
Or not like you.
It was our teacher supported it. We had some downtime last year in AP seminar, and we decided to just, like, prank call the Church of Scientology like you do. Like, asking what to do because there was aliens in our house, and asking to meet Tom Cruise, and, like, I respect, like, actual religions, but, like, I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, Scientology is just a cult. Like, it's all, like, you know, money based, and, like, aliens and whatnot, and like there's been like
It's not based in anything.
exactly,
Yeah.
and there's been accounts of like credited accounts of kidnapping, like celebrities who have like spoken out against the like church and then gone missing, and like I don't know. I'm blocked from calling them is the end of the story because my phone was one of them that was used, but I don't have any regrets about that.
No, like you're not going to benefit from having their like being able to call them ever. Like there's no reason you need that.
Unless you join.
I don't know.
You have to be rich first, Wes.
That's the problem. I feel like that's the problem with myself though, is like I would join the Church of Scientology just for funsies.
Oh, I would too.
But like what if like I think
if you
I'm
try
just
to
above the culting. But like what if they get to me?
That's so true. Because that's like what cults are.
Yeah.
I read a book called Cultish by Amanda Montell, and she actually does talk about Scientology and how she almost got, like, they tried to get her in. She went to like some kind of meeting with her friend, and she didn't know what it was, and it turned out to be like a Scientology like recruiting thing. And the entire book is about linguistics and the way that cult leaders talk.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I mean, I feel like I read it on a plane, so it was like such a long time ago. But it was super interesting to hear about like famous cult leaders. And I think she talked about Charles Manson,
Oh yeah.
like how specifically they use language in order to, unify people. Like we, a lot of
Oh,
we.
versus them, like
Yes,
that kind of stuff.
yeah.
Did they talk about? I don't know what it is with organ and cults, but did they talk about like Osho, the Rajneeshi dude?
I learned about that in psych. I don't think it was in the book,
Yeah.
but that one is also really
another
interesting.
organ cult. It's crazy.
Well, I think it's just like whenever I think of Oregon, I think of like for some reason I think of Gravity Falls. Like
yeah, totally.
Oh, wait, now that I think about that, that makes a lot of sense.
yeah, like I think Oregon as a state and as a place is like, I don't know, it's so secluded, or they think it is, and it's like a huge myth that we exist. I don't know. I think it's fun. Or like Sasquatch.
Oh,
He
yeah.
hangs out here, or Bigfoot or whatever.
I feel like if I were to be from another state describing Oregon, I would just describe like craziness, Portland, and then just like trees and Sasquatch.
Exactly.
Like, no other part of Oregon exists but Portland.
But then it's also like, could any of us describe Texas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never been, so.
Like when I went to Louisville, Kentucky this last summer, the British lady who was my debate coach who went with me, she described it as like Portland but racist. And like, I mean, yeah, which I mean, do what that with you will, or like,
Do with.
you know what I was saying.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like, I don't know, it's just interesting, like how our own perceptions like influence places.
Was it
Yeah.
like a racist Portland? Was she right?
Size-wise, it was pretty similar to Portland's, and it was like on the water, so I can see how it gave off kind of Portland vibes, but there was nothing about it that screamed like racist, other than like Kentucky.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know.
Kentucky.
It's Kentucky.
Yeah.
It was hot. My shoes melted in the car. She took a wrong turn and took us to a different state. The Ohio River looks like someone poured chocolate milk down like
Yeah.
it's
Sounds terrible.
I know,
Yeah.
and that's why everyone always like, they're like, oh, I want to get out of Oregon, And I'm like, we live in a pretty cool state.
Exactly.
Like, I don't hear anything bad about Oregon in the news ever. Well, not ever. Like,
I hear bad stuff
I will
about
hear,
Oregon, but-
yeah, I mean, me too. But I also like don't hear. I hear more bad stuff about California or like Nevada. I guess the one out of like super weird thing I hear is like the whole greater Idaho, but that's an Idaho thing. But we're just kind of wrapped in it.
It goes around Bend too. Like,
I know.
If you look at the map, it's really funny.
I know. Wait, so we would be like on the border, right? We would be out of it, or we'd be in it.
We'd be in Oregon.
That's-
What is this greater Idaho thing? I feel
Really?
like I've never heard about this.
He doesn't know anything about politics.
It's been a thing for a couple years now, but like a bunch of both Oregon and like I think all of Idaho like voters and a bunch of Oregon counties have
Isn't there
approved this
some
bill.
in Washington, or is it just Oregon? I thought there was like a little more.
There might be like the corner Washington,
Yeah.
but basically it's like people in rural Oregon counties who are like, yeah, we want to join Idaho for their politics, and they've
What?
they've said that they okay it, And if you look at a map, it's like,
I'm gonna pull one up.
yeah, Idaho would come like this. It would grab like Baker City and come down. It goes around Bend because we're too liberal. But it gets like Prineville and Redmond and Lapine and then comes back down and gets like Burns.
Yeah, so it takes up here.
Yeah.
This is like huge though. So it takes up part of California up here. It takes up no, that's Idaho. It doesn't go on Washington, but it's like all of Oregon
That's
would become
hilarious.
Idaho.
But like if you drive into like Burns or someplace like that, like I'd be willing to bet you an insane amount of money that you're gonna find a greater Idaho flag or sign or something like that. That it's something that people really believe in. But like again, it comes down to like how lucky we are in Oregon. Like our minimum wage is like double Idaho's. Like I think they're
Yeah.
like federal. I think it's like $7.25.
And that's the thing, like obviously there's bad things about every state, but I do really like Oregon, and like we don't have tax.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Yeah.
awesome. I mean sales tax.
Yeah.
We have taxes.
No,
But-
wait, none of us pay taxes here.
No, but we don't have tax. We have pretty good like policies when it comes to economics. Like a lot of people, I was talking to someone at work who was from Ohio, and he was like, yeah, when I came here and I learned I couldn't pump my gas, I was like really upset. And I was like, well, I've like never pumped my own gas. Like I've done it once.
I love pumping my own
Yeah,
gas. I'll go into Washington or like I'll be driving at night and like I find one that like lets you pump your own and I love it. Like it's
Yeah.
just freedom.
You're not supposed to in like Bend or Oregon at all. But there's one gas station that, okay, I don't know if you're supposed to pump like yourself.
Is it the one on Reed?
Yeah, and it's like, and it's no one's there at night, but the pumps are on, so I just go there and I pay, and I pump my own gas.
I've gone there while the dude's there and I'll just like get out of the car and he'll be like, go for it, bud. I'm like, yeah.
I mean, I think the basis behind it, like we don't pump our own gas to give more jobs to people. I think that's great. But I also could understand like there's other ways to give people jobs, that's not necessarily the only way to make it happen. Especially when like a lot of people feel strongly about it for some reason. Like it takes longer when someone pumps it for you, and I'm like, I guess, like I don't personally mind it because like when it's cold outside, I'll sit in my car and just wait for a while. But
I love talking to the gas attendants. So
me too.
I'm a big fan of the law, or whatever.
The law.
The law.
Just the law in general.
No, but I love that they make gas attendants pump it for us. Cause,
yeah, there's
fun.
this guy at the Chevron gas station, and his name is Billy. He's awesome. He had my little brother was sitting in the front seat with my mom, and he was like, get out, I'm teaching you how to pump your mom's gas. And my little brother was super uncomfortable, but like it was good. And he Billy like gave him a drink. He was like, yeah, like when you pump someone's gas, you get paid, and he gave him money too. And it was like the sweetest thing ever.
That's
yeah,
really sweet.
like they just that makes my day. It's just super sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be a gas attendant for like 3 months.
Oh,
When I was 14, it was pretty fun.
when you were 14.
Where at?
Yeah, at Expressway. It was terrible, but also really fun.
Whenever someone my age is pumping my gas, I get like, I just don't enjoy it.
That's what I love. Like I know I'm friends with I end up being friends with a lot of people that work at like Expressway and stuff.
No,
So
I know,
it's-
but I mean like if I am getting my gas pumped and like you show up and you're my age, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I
but
just don't
why?
like. It's just uncomfortable for me. I don't know why. I get uncomfortable with anyone really, but especially if I know the person, it's like, what do you say?
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll be like, oh hey, like
That's what I was saying. That's why I like it. 'Cause
Yeah.
a lot of times I know the people because it's a lot of people our age. So it's
that's
fun.
true. That's true. But then sometimes it's like, what if they don't know who I am?
Yeah, true.
Like, and then I'm like, oh hey, how are you? And they're like,
Who are you?
who are you? Yeah, that would be like the worst moment of my life, I think.
And like as much as I'm like, yeah, I want to pump my own gas, I flex so hard on people from like kids my age that I've met from other states, like traveling for school and stuff like that. Like I'll be like, yeah, I don't have to pump my own gas, and they're like, oh, there's like 3 feet of snow on the ground, and like they're complaining, and I'm like, nah, I don't have to pump my own.
Well, gas stations are kind of scary sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I don't know if this is real, but my mom keeps sending me like TikToks of people like of human traffickers that will if you get out of your car to pump your gas and you like leave the handle in there and then leave and come back, if there's like a tissue on there, she's like, and there's chemicals on it, and then you'll touch it and pass out. And I'm like, where are you seeing this, Mom? Like, I don't know, but I'm still cautious because I'm like, what if?
Those are like my favorite things, like Inside Edition. I can go to.
No, I know.
Trafficking is one of your favorite things.
That's where we're going to have to end it off. It was too entertaining. We had to cut it into 2. It was too long. But we'll see where it goes with Wes's opinions on human trafficking.